Assalamualaikum. In this video, I'm going to explain to you on the properties of trigo function. So the first one would be the special angle, and then the reference angle. The third one would be the periodic angles, and the last one would be the even odd function. So we will go through one by one. Now let's look at the special angle for the exact values. Now you have to know few basic exact values for corresponding angles. So the very basic angles are 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees. If your angle is in your radian form, so it will be 0 radian, pi over by 6, pi over by 4, pi over by 3, and pi over by 2. Now, how to memorize your exact value? So this is my way how to do it. There are many other ways to actually memorize. Okay, so what you should know first is that your very basic sine theta when it is 0 degrees and 90 degrees. And your cosine theta when it is 0 degrees and 90 degrees. Now, how to know your exact value is from the unit circle. For example, if you have a unit circle, okay, so you have over here, let's look at the first quadrant. So the unit circle over here. Now there is a 2 point that you actually can know. Because your radius should be 1, okay, anywhere your radius is 1, so your angle here should be 1, 2. So the unit circle here, the point you can put it 1, 0 and 0, 1. Okay. From the unit circle, we can know that for the function of sine would be the y value, which is y coordinate, and the function of cosine would be the x coordinate. So let's look at over here, the first point here. This is when your angle is 0. So knowing that the angle 0 over here, angle is equivalent to 0 degrees, you can have 1, 0. So what does it mean by the 1, 0? It means that your cosine 0 would be equivalent to 1 and your sine 0 would be equivalent to 0. Now another exact point that you know that is 0, 1. So what does it mean by 0, 1 over here? Your x value is here 0, which means your cosine, this is 90 degrees. So cosine 90 degrees will give you 0. So over here, cosine 90 degrees will give you 0. And your sine 90 will give you 1. So over here 1. And the rest of it, I memorize it this way. So what I would do is that everything would be over by 2. Okay? And then these will be over by 2, over by 2, over by 2. And then I simply put a square root on your numerator. Now, started with a 0, whatever under the square root, I increase by 1, which means over here will be 1, 2, 3. Starting from the 0 values for cosine, and then I increase by 1 to your left, which is over here, starting from 0 to the left will become, here will be 1, 2, 3. Okay? But over here, because square root 1 is 1, I can simply actually take it out. I mean, it becomes just 1. And over here is the same thing. It's just become square root 1. So these are the very exact value of the special angle, which are the 0, 30 degrees, 45, 60, and 90. What does it tell? It tells that if you have a sine 30 degrees, it will give you an exact value of half. If you have sine 45 degrees, you have square root 2 over by 2. If you have sine 60 degrees, you have square root 3 over by 2. And if you have sine 90 degrees, you have 1, the value of 1. Okay? Same goes as your cosine. If you have 0 degrees, you got 1. If you have cosine 30 degrees, you got square root 3 over by 2. Cosine 45 degrees, square root 2 over by 2. Cosine 60 degrees is half. And cosine 90 degrees is 0. So that's what is your special angle exact values. Now these exact values can be used by your calculator. Can be found by your calculator. But for those who are in the old version of calculator, you will get a decimal point. So you cannot have that exact value as they want it, square root 3, square root 2, and so on. Okay? So you need to do it one by one, which is you have to memorize. Now let's look at other example on the special values and how to use it. Okay, how to apply. For example, you have tangent 45 degrees. So, how can we actually solve for tangent 45 degrees? We know that tangent is equivalent to sine theta over by cosine theta. Now this one you can put it as sine 45 degrees over by cosine 45 degrees. Now from your, whether your calculator or you memorize or by listing like I'm doing right here, you can actually get your tangent 45 degrees. Sine 45 will give you square root 2 over by 2 from here. Okay? Now cosine 45 also give me square root 2 over by 2. So this one would be square root 2 over by 2. Now since the numerator and denominator is the same, so it's just gonna give you 1. Okay, the exact value. Now second one. Now what is cosecant 30? Now cosecant 30 is basically 1 over by sine 30 degrees. Now either you memorize, you will get sine 30 degrees, or you list it out. Sine 30 degrees will give you half. So substitute into the equation. So you have over here sine 30 is half. So simplify, this is 1 over by half. 1 over by half will give you 2. So that straight away you're going to get the answer. Now let's look at the last one. This is cotangent 60 degrees. Cotangent is 1 over by tangent, or the reciprocal of a tangent. So what you have over here, you can also put it as cosine 60 degrees over by sine 60 degrees. From the table, find, or whatever you memorize, sine 60 degrees will give you sec 2 over by 2. Cosine 60 degrees will give you half. Substitute, you will have, this is going to give you half over by sec 3 over by 2. Simplify, which you will have 1 over by sec 3. But a 1 over by sec 3, you can leave it your answer like this, or you can rationalize as such 1 over by sec 3 multiplied by sec 3 over by sec 3, which is going to give you a nicer answer, which is sec 3 over by, this would be 3. Okay?